Hello and welcome to my daily reading of D-Day Dog, which I'm reading to my dog Finn every day. He doesn't look terribly impressed today, but let's just get on with the story. Today it's chapter 3. Remember where we left off? So Jack and his dad have just started to play their video game, haven't they? Or they're just about to start playing the video game to do with D-Day. Good boy, you are being such a good boy. You are. Good boy. You've got to imagine we're two paratroopers, 25, maybe 20 years old, Dad explained to Jack. Okay. And we're about to jump out of a plane to parachute into the dark and take the fight to the Germans. This is where the liberation of Europe begins. With you and me, we're going to risk our lives to make the world a better place for the people who need our help in France, Holland, Belgium and beyond. Do you understand? Yes. Jack really wanted to get started. So are you ready? Dad said. I'm ready, Jack replied. And now they played. Jack and his dad watched dozens of planes taking off from a long, dark runway among silhouettes of trees and bushes. The roar of the engines filled the room, making Finn look up to stare at Jack intensely. Next, they were inside a plane, sitting with their backs to the fuselage. 12 men, their anxious faces smeared with boot polish. Dad continued his commentary. So, it's early on the 6th of June 1944, and hundreds of planes have set off to parachute drop thousands of men into Normandy on the north coast of France. We're on board with them, Jack. Warships and aeroplanes have been bombing the French coastline for weeks, softening up the Germans who captured the French towns and villages on the coasts. Jack breathed in sharply. He had a question about the towns and villages. So, had all the French people who lived there before gone to safety, he asked, to get away from the bombs? Dad shook his head. No. Lots of Frenchmen and some women fought back against the Nazis that night, sabotaging German defences to make it easier for the Allies when we arrived. The French were very brave. You all right? You're just relaxing. That's good. The French were very brave. They knew they had to risk their lives to save their country. And what about the ordinary people who didn't fight, like the children my age, Jack asked. What had happened to them when the bombs fell? Dad paused the game and faced his son for a few seconds. Lots of people were killed, Jack, he said in a softer voice. Hundreds of French people, including children, died that night. Dad coughed. It's called collateral damage. Eh? Jack had never heard this phrase before. When some people die and the army is trying to save everyone else, his dad explained. That's a weird name, Jack said. I suppose it is, Dad nodded. Jack pressed the start button and the screen changed to show a grey sea filled with the silhouettes of hundreds of ships. So, Dad went on, below us tens of thousands of men are in ships, ready to storm the beaches, but we're paratroopers. We fly over the enemy, then we parachute down to attack them. Jack concentrated on his game character. He wondered about jumping from a plane, landing in enemy-controlled territory. How would that feel? Then he thought about his dad. Maybe his dad had already parachuted with the Army Reserves. Have you done it? Jack asked. Dad was hunched forward, studying the screen. A red light had come on above the open door at the back of the plane. Done what? Dad asked. Listen, Jack, be ready to jump. The red light means we need to be prepared. When it goes green, we go, okay? Parachuted, Jack persisted. Have you ever parachuted? In the reserves, I mean. Dad smiled. I wish. I'd love to, but I've never done that. Some of my mates have done a course, but not me, not yet. Jack noticed that the green light had come on in the game. Green, he said. Well spotted, Dad said. Follow me. Jack watched his dad's character fall out of the doorway into the night, his parachute opening up as he was dragged quickly into the slipstream of the plane. Then Jack made his character on the game jump, the noise and lights and small explosions and lines of orange bullets filling the void around him. Now we just drop and hope we don't get hit by German fire, Dad said, breathless, as if he really was falling out of the sky into a war zone. Are you awake still? He is just awake, honest. Jack felt his legs tense as he watched his character drift down towards to land. And in the time it took, Jack wondered if one day his dad would do this for real. and he felt a rush of pride about his dad being a reserve soldier. With loud bangs crashing around him, he snapped out of it quickly. He heard the sound of another paratrooper crying out in pain, more flashes of bright white light, more ear-splitting cracks and bangs. Suddenly, back in the real world, Finn was on his feet. Finn was on his feet. But not in this real world. Alarmed by the noise, looking around the room, then scampering to hide under a table. Dad was standing up. "Get ready to hit the ground," he said. "There could be Germans hiding in those hedgerows. Look, waiting, look, can you see them?" Jack nodded, his teeth clamped shut, leaning so far forward that eventually he was standing like his dad. "I'm ready," he said. And that is the end of chapter 3. And in the next chapter, we find out what happens next. Have I still got your attention? Are you still into it a bit? Or is it all a bit much? We've never read a whole book together, so this is new for both of us, isn't it? But thank you for staying. Thank you for staying. Anyway, thank you for listening, and chapter 4 will be available tomorrow.